Hello friends, welcome back to the Casual Foodist. I'm Brianna and we are in the middle of winter. This time of year there is nothing more I want to do than cuddle up with a big cozy blanket, read a good book, and eat a big bowl of warm, comforting soup. Today we are making one of my favorite soups, creamy chicken and wild rice soup with mushrooms. This soup is hearty, healthy, comforting, cozy, everything I want when it is cold and dreary outside. And it all comes together in one pot. Let's get started. Let's take a look at our ingredients. We're going to start with a mirepoix, which is the French term for onions, celery, and carrots. And this is the base of a lot of classic savory dishes. We're going to need one large onion, and we're going to dice this guy up. 3 stalks of celery, and then also 3 large carrots. We're going to cook that all up in a little bit of olive oil. You can also use butter if that's what you've got on hand. And to help thicken up our soup, I've got 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. I've got 8 ounces of cremini or baby portobello mushrooms, and anytime you get mushrooms, I definitely recommend getting whole mushrooms versus pre-sliced. They are going to last a lot longer and be a lot fresher when you're going to cook them. And then I've got 1 cup of a wild rice blend. And fun fact, wild rice actually isn't rice. Wild rice is actually a grain that comes from grasses that grow throughout the Great Lakes region. It has a nutty flavor and a nice chewy texture, which I just love. I've got 1 pound of boneless, skinless chicken breasts here, and if you've got chicken thighs, they would be perfect in this soup. We're going to need 5 cups of chicken broth or chicken stock, and while store-bought is fine, if you've got some homemade sitting in your fridge or freezer, this is the time to use it. To make this soup creamy, we are going to use 1 cup of whole milk. Of course, any recipe is going to need salt and pepper, and I've got 1 teaspoon each of kosher salt and ground black pepper. And then, since I'm always trying to get some more greens into my diet, I've got 2 cups here of baby spinach. This is optional, but who doesn't need more veggies? A few ingredients I almost forgot to mention. I've got 3 cloves of garlic, some fresh thyme, and some fresh sage. And we're going to need about a tablespoon of each of this. I've given my mushrooms a quick rinse under the sink to remove any dirt. Alton Brown recommends rinsing your mushrooms. Professional kitchens and Michelin star restaurants also rinse their mushrooms, so I'm going to do it too. I'm just going to go ahead and start slicing up my mushrooms, and I like to give pretty big slices here. I love having a nice, hearty, meaty mushroom texture in this soup. And then we're going to go ahead and give our celery a quick slice with my slices here because I like a big, hearty soup. If you want to dice them a little bit finer, go right ahead. It's your soup too. And then for carrots, I am going to go ahead and slice them on the diagonal. I think it gives a really pretty look to the soup when it's finished. If you like to cut your carrots into coins, again, it's your soup, you do you. Just gonna give my garlic a quick smash here and chop these guys up. And again, garlic is one of those things that you measure with your heart. So if you want some more garlic in this soup, go for it. And then we are just going to dice up this onion, and I tend to save the onion for last just in case the onion tends to be a little bit extra fragrant. I do not want to be sitting there chopping the rest of the vegetables while my eyes are tearing up, and I think we've all been there. I'm just going to remove the skin on each side. A little slice through the top here. We'll cut down the half through the middle and then finally little chops down the top again, and we are going to end up with some really nice dices here. I've got my very well loved Le Creuset Dutch oven here, and I am just going to go ahead and add in about a tablespoon of olive oil. And if you'd like to use butter, go ahead. That also works great and is delicious. And we're going to start by sauteing our onions. I always love that sizzle. Our garlic. And then our celery and carrots. And celery, I think, is a really underrated vegetable. I always loved snacking on it as a kid, and I really don't use it as much as I'd like to. I think I'm gonna remedy that, and if you've got any good celery recipes, please let me know in the comments. And we are just going to let this first batch of veggies saute for about 3 to 4 minutes, or until the onions start turning a little bit translucent. I always love that mix of onions and garlic. One of my favorite smells while I'm cooking. All right, now I'm going to add in my sliced mushrooms. And again, I've got cremini mushrooms, also known as baby portobello mushrooms. But if you see a good blend of wild mushrooms, this would be the perfect recipe for it. Just going to make a little bit of room here in the pot. Oh, got a couple that didn't want to go in. There we go. And we are just going to let the mushrooms cook down for about 3 to 4 minutes as well. We're going to sprinkle in 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. And this is just going to help thicken up our soup, especially once we add in the milk a little bit later. Okay. Also going to add in 1 tablespoon of fresh thyme. I've gone ahead and chopped that up. That wasn't thyme, that was sage. This is thyme. We're just gonna mix this all together and let that flour cook for about a minute. That combination of onions, garlic, sage, and thyme always smells like Thanksgiving to me, and I absolutely love it. All right, now it is time for our chicken stock. Again, as you see, I've got some store-bought broth here, but if you've got some homemade, this is the time to use it. We're going to sprinkle in our salt and pepper, our wild rice blend, and I absolutely love any rice by Lundberg, and they make a fantastic wild rice and rice blend. Just gonna give this all a nice little stir. And then we're going to add in our 1 pound of boneless, skinless chicken breasts. Again, if you've got chicken thighs, knock yourself out. They will be great in this soup. And I'm putting these chicken breasts in whole. We're going to let them cook with the soup, and then we're going to take them out later and shred them up. I really like the texture of poached chicken and then shredding it up. Also, if you've got a rotisserie chicken or leftover chicken, feel free to skip this step and you can just add in that chicken later. Soup will be delicious. Our soup has been simmering for about 30 minutes and it smells amazing. We are going to go ahead and take out our chicken breasts. I'm going to go ahead and stir in our 1 cup of whole milk. And this, together with the flour from earlier, is going to make this soup nice and creamy and velvety. I'm just going to give that a little stir there. And this has about another 10 minutes to go. While that's simmering, we're going to go ahead and shred our chickens. And for safety purposes, we are going to check the temperature of our meat. And I love this instant read thermometer by ThermoWorks. This is a ThermoPen, and I use this anytime I'm cooking meat. We want to make sure we get at least to 165 degrees, and we are good there. We're just going to take 2 forks here and use that to start shredding our chicken. And this is coming apart pretty easily. I've just stirred in my chicken and my spinach, and we are ready to eat. My kitchen has smelled amazing from this soup cooking all afternoon. I am so excited to dig in. I've got a nice spoonful with some wild rice, bit of carrot, some chicken, and of course that creamy broth. The soup is so good. We've got that nutty wild rice, that creamy herby broth, and the chicken is so tender. Guys, give this recipe a try. You're gonna love it. You can find a link to the recipe below or at casualfoodist.com. And be sure to like this video and subscribe to the Casual Foodist for more recipes like this.